There are things I cannot do. I cannot watch while people suffer. I cannot sit when something must be done. I cannot judge those who are different. There are things I cannot do. Run, hide, ignore. There are things I cannot do, but there are certainly things I will do.
Queen's Hope, the final novel in the Padme trilogy, was released in 2022. It centers around Padme Amidala during the onset of the Clone Wars, basically picking up immediately after the movie Attack of the Clones finishes. I've just finished this book and wanted to share my thoughts. That being said, guys, there will be spoilers during this review. I've got to say that after reading Queen's Peril for the second time, a book which I really enjoyed, I was really looking forward to this one to see how it concluded the trilogy, and it actually pains me to say that I was quite disappointed. It was okay, and the ending salvaged what was rather an average read, and nothing too exciting happened throughout the entire book. It begins shortly after the Battle of Geonosis, and Anakin has escorted Padme back to her home planet of Naboo, where they plan to get married. On the morning of their wedding, the Queen asks Padme to go and retrieve a handful of Naboo artists from a nearby planet and bring them home. Padme takes Anakin along and they retrieve the artists. One of the artists we learn later on was actually the Queen's sister. But this just kind of seems like story filler, and they return to Naboo after the mission and they get married. It's also cool to note here that Padme's former handmaiden Yarne helped make the wedding dress, which is quite a nice touch, I thought. On returning to Coruscant, Mon Mothma and Bail Organa ask Padme to go on a secret mission. Bail Organa says a senator specifically has been asked to go, more specifically Padme. So Padme asks Sabe, her former bodyguard and handmaiden, to return to Coruscant and play the role of Amidala once again while Padme is away on the mission. Honestly, Sabe's role in the novel is probably the most interesting part. So at the beginning of the book, she's returned to Tatooine for the second time to help free slaves, but then she is excited to receive a call from Padme asking for her help once again. Sabe must slip back into the decoy role, something that she has not done for many, many years. And honestly, that's the most interesting part of the novel. Sabe playing the role of Amidala again, attending Senate meetings and those awkward encounters, and then even an encounter with Padme's new husband Anakin, no less. Padme's mission is nothing too exciting, to say the least. She flies with Captain Typho on a Wookiee supply ship delivering medical supplies to a planet that is under siege by the Separatists. There is a small action scene here, but really it's nothing too exciting. It turns out that the secret contact who specifically asked for Padme to come on the mission is a Nemoidian, and he wants to atone for the Trade Federation's past actions and help turn the tide of the war. And that's basically it. It's not really resolved or developed any further than that. That's just kind of it. Padme returns to Coruscant and is confronted by Sabe, who has learned of Padme's secret marriage to Anakin. Sabe expresses her sadness at this, like the secret she kept from her, and discusses they both discuss how different their lives are now. Sabe expresses that she cannot do this anymore and asks Padme not to ask for her help ever again, even though that they will always be a part of each other. Sabe then returns to Tatooine to continue her own endeavors. The ending is kind of bittersweet. Both women go their separate ways and do what they can to help the galaxy on totally different fronts. The ending was good. I quite like the way it wrapped things up between Padme and Sabe. However, the rest of the novel is pretty disappointing, and the story is just not as engaging as the other two novels. Padme and Anakin are written really well when they are together, and the chemistry that Hayden Christensen had with Natalie Portman, that really comes alive on the pages. Just like the other Padme novels, it is a really quick read, and the chapters are not too long, so it's really good for those quick reads before bed. I would recommend the Padme trilogy, especially if you're a fan of the character, as I am. However, I just felt with this final novel, it could have been so much more. Like having Padme go to the front lines, being captured, being held hostage on the front lines, and her really seeing the Clone Wars from like that civilian point of view, really seeing the bad things and really seeing the effect of the war in that way. And maybe it really has a much more of a deep personal effect on her. And then maybe Anakin and the Jedi launch a rescue mission to come and save her. Like he's got to save his new wife, and maybe they go into battle once again. Maybe that would have been a better choice. I don't know. That's just me, but I also do understand that that's not what these novels try to be about. It's an okay read, but ultimately it's just an unsatisfactory conclusion to the Padme trilogy.